How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, the show where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, in episode number 157 of Uncut, we're going to be breaking down what we have and what we see so far out of the Bears' practice squad. They've signed 13 of the available 16 slots allotted to them, and we're going to be looking at this roster, seeing who they brought back, as well as some other additions, and talking about how strong this practice squad is. Also, what players could possibly eventually make their way to the 53-man roster and possibly see the field in this upcoming season. Before we hop into this one, I would like to say the support has been crazy recently. You guys crushed 1,000 views on the video yesterday in well under 24 hours. So if you want the most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web, we're going to try and come back with videos for you guys each and every day of the week. So do us a favor, wherever you are listening right now, do us a favor, subscribe, like, follow, and we're going to keep the content coming back as long as you guys keep digging it up. We want to keep coming back to you guys each and every day. That is how we differentiate ourselves. I am your host, Chris Malpe, today to talk about this practice squad that has some familiar and some interesting names as well. I am joined with my co-host, Jaylen McClinton. Jaylen, second day in a row, back with another roster video like we said yesterday. How's it going, my man?
It's going good. Definitely some interesting waiver wire claim and some signage in there as well. So definitely excited to talk about it.
Yeah, Bears bringing in, I forget the receiver from the 49ers. I couldn't even remember his name. And also brought in Brashad Perriman.
It's in Simba Webster.
In Simba Webster.
Yeah.
And Brashad Perriman, obviously moving on from Rodney Adams. He was on the roster for less than 24 hours. We'll get to him a little bit later because he's an interesting piece that probably could return to Chicago's practice squad if he isn't claimed on waivers. But I guess that's the only reason why I'd be having a bad day. I was so hyped about Rodney Adams yesterday, and then today, boom, he's gone. But if he goes somewhere else, I wish him the best. But let's start with this practice squad review, and let's just jump right into it. I mean, just like yesterday with the 53-man roster, the Bears have filled 13 of 16 slots allotted to them on this practice squad. Not too sure if they're going to bring back the rule from last year that was because of COVID policies that you could protect two players and basically lock two players up each and every week. The Bears did a decent bit of that last year. But let's take a look at who the Bears got. They brought back running back Ryan Null, running back Artavis Pierce, 3 wide receivers so far. Dazz Newsome, someone who needed to come back. Glad they brought him back. Isaiah Coulter, who they recently signed, I believe, a week or two ago. Played a little bit in the preseason game against the Titans and looks solid. And then Jon'Vea Johnson, the undrafted free agent rookie out of Toledo. That's another interesting one. Not a rookie, excuse me, but undrafted player out of Toledo. They brought back 2 offensive linemen, Dieter Easelin and Arlington Hambright. At defensive line, they brought back, wow, this is a tough one. Izoya Aluofai. Man. Linebackers, they brought back Charles Snowden, someone that was expected that we were harping on yesterday. We wanted to be back, as well as Sam Kamara. Defensive back, they bring back 2 solid players from training camp. Thomas Graham Jr., the other 6th-round pick, along with Dazz Newsome, and Tease Tabor, who just missed the cut behind Marquis Christian. And then at kicker, they brought back Brian Johnson. I think the Bears really do have a solid kicker there at backup. And with COVID times and everything that's going on right now, he was actually really solid throughout training camp and the preseason. So glad that they locked him up behind Cairo Santos. Let's hop into this a little bit, though, and examine this practice squad. There's not a ton to talk about, but I think the main point to start is right here. I mean, obviously, Jaylen, yesterday, the 2 players that were kind of the surprise cuts were Jalen Johnson. Not quite. That would be a catastrophe. Dazz Newsome and Thomas Graham Jr. Normally in the past, Ryan Pace's draft picks have been pretty safe in terms of not being cut, and normally all of them making the 53-man roster. Newsome and Graham were waived. They obviously cleared waivers and are now back on the Bears' practice squad. So, Jaylen, are you pretty happy that the Bears brought back these 2 players that still obviously have a ton of raw potential and are looking towards a future in Chicago?
Yeah, definitely. I know all of Bears Twitter was going crazy. I was mad about it. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not saying fire Pace because he cuts 2 6th-round draft picks. But I know a lot of Bears Twitter was upset about it, and I can see why. You just drafted these guys in April and you cut them. August 31st. So 4 months later. So I don't blame them for getting mad, but I'm just happy they're back. I'm pretty sure I was pretty sure they were going to clear waivers, especially because they really didn't have a chance to show much in the preseason to get claimed by any other team. So definitely glad they're back. I wouldn't be surprised if they both get elevated to the roster at some point in the season due to depth reasons and like injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm glad they were able to get both of them back. A lot of Carolina Panthers fans wanted them to bring on Newsome, obviously, coming from Chapel Hill down there in North Carolina. Graham's an interesting one. I do think we'll see Newsome see the field sometime this season for sure.
Yeah.
But Graham, I was a little bit surprised by him getting cut, but taking a look at it now and thinking about it, he might have been rusty. He sat out his entire last year at Oregon because of the coronavirus and hadn't played for a while. I am glad that they brought him back. He was someone that Pro Football Focus actually, right after he was drafted, predicted Thomas Graham Jr. to be the Bears' starting nickel corner. So what a wild sequence of events there, from having so much confidence into him to possibly seeing him go. Now to seeing him back, I'm looking forward to it, especially because the Bears secondary definitely needs some help, but I am very happy that the Bears brought back both of these guys. Jaylen, before we move on to some more players that we'd like to see the Bears possibly add to their practice squad, one in specific that I mentioned earlier and opened the episode on, I didn't make a banner for this one, but any other players that you're happy they brought back overall? I think I'll start actually. Dieter Easelin is an interesting one, a developmental prospect on the offensive line, played at Yale behind some great coaches and has a really nice build. Artavis Pierce, obviously Khalil Herbert, as I predicted, was able to snag that running back 3 slot with Tariq Cohen going on the PUP/IR list. He's going to be out for at least 6 weeks. And then I think the only other ones I'd say I'm pretty happy about are Charles Snowden, someone who I know you're probably going to repeat. You had good things to say about him yesterday. And then Brian Johnson. I just think it's good to have some depth at kicker based on what the Bears have seen and had in the past. I fully trust Cairo Santos, but Johnson's young, so I wouldn't mind keeping him around for the long run. Jaylen, anyone to add there that you're happy that the Bears brought back on this practice squad?
Like you said, Snowden, Kamara. I think his name's Sam Kamara. Outside linebacker at Stony Brook. He was able to get a couple sacks here in preseason. Those two are the main guys. Jon'Vea Johnson, I guess, for wide receiver depth. But yeah, mainly Charles Snowden. I'm a big fan of him. Out of Virginia, I definitely feel like he got a chance of making this roster. But obviously the Bears want to keep him on the practice squad and try to develop him more, so he can make a push for that roster next year. So I'm definitely glad he's back on the team.
Yeah, Snowden should definitely be an interesting one to see how he develops. Obviously, the Bears are a team known for developing defensive players, especially defensive linemen and edge rushers, into solid players. Jay Rodgers obviously isn't here anymore. He either went to the Chargers or the Rams. I always forget which team. Yeah, defensive coordinator. Yeah, picked up a little bit of a bigger role at the Chargers, but hopefully some of his, magic dust will stick behind, and we can hopefully develop some of these guys like Snowden into great potential pass rushers in the future. I mean, we see it right now with Trevis Gibson. Hopefully he can start taking off and getting opportunities as a rotational piece as we move into this season. Let's talk about any other players that were released today or that the Bears have recently waived that have originally made the 53-man roster. Rodney Adams, that should be added back to the practice squad. You already know my answer. I'd like to see him bring back Rodney Adams. He was a preseason star, had a couple drops here and there, I'll be completely honest. The Bears brought in 2 wide receivers today, and I was a little bit weary about whether or not they were going to cut Adams because that would have put him at 7 wide receivers on the active roster without Dazz Newsome. So unfortunately, Adams did get waived. If he clears waivers, I'd love to see him bring him back. I think he's what Javon Wims, what the Bears were looking for in Javon Wims that they couldn't get. Someone who can run clean routes, who has a great catch radius, can go up and get something essentially if the ball isn't put in the right place. So I'd love to see him bring back Rodney Adams. I didn't think I was going to be saying this 24 hours after he made the 53-man roster. but we'll see if he clears waivers. He was one of the best wide receivers in the preseason. I surely hope the Bears bring him back because they can use his deep ball talent. It's going to be another gadget domino piece for Matt Nagy, so I surely hope Rodney Adams can be brought back. Jaylen, before we close this one off, though, anyone else you'd like to see the Bears bring to the practice squad? They've got 3 spots left. There's still some interesting players that cleared waivers out there. Anyone you'd like to see Ryan Pace bring on?
I have no certain name, but hopefully it's more corner.
Rodney Adams.
Oh, you already said Rodney Adams. He should have made this roster. I don't know why.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Like we usually,
and that's not bashing on like Brashad Perriman either. I mean, Perriman's been a solid receiver when he's gotten opportunities, but I think Rodney Adams earned it fair and square.
Definitely, especially after we cut Javon, cut Riley, cut Dazz. I thought, it was guaranteed he was making a roster. And I was confused because like we usually carry 7. Like somebody on Twitter was like, Ronnie's gone. I'm like, we usually carry 7 receivers. So
looks like they're going with 6 for now.
Yeah. Hopefully we sign him if he clears waivers, but I doubt it right now for Pace. But hopefully we can get like a developmental corner, undrafted free agent from another team that wasn't claimed and wasn't re-signed to a practice squad that we could get in and come here and try to develop. Because I'm still not happy with this corner depth on this team. Hopefully we sign Bless Austin, who just got released by the Jets today, to the roster. So Pace definitely has a lot more moves to make before week 1 next week. So, that's about it.
I feel like it makes sense just to use all of the practice squad spots. I mean, obviously the Bears have 3 more right now. You might as well bring in, just anyone. Rodney Adams hopefully would be the preferred one for that 14th spot, but you'd assume when we're waiting for Adams waiver status throughout the next 24 hours, the Bears will have the opportunity to add 2 more, like you mentioned, Bless Austin, amongst others. There were some decent offensive line prospects that were cut, some 4th, 5th round picks from drafts in years previous that the Bears can bring in. They need all the help they can get in certain positions, so I think the Bears will definitely fill out the rest of the practice squad. Should be interesting to see who else they bring in. Do us a favor, leave down in the comments your thoughts on the practice squad and anyone you want the Bears to bring back. Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode number 157 of Uncut. If you want more content from us, we're trying to make the most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web come to you guys every day, so do us a favor if you haven't already. Follow, like, subscribe. We're going to keep coming back each and every day, bringing you guys Bears coverage. We love doing this stuff. If you want more content from us, head over to our website. The link is in the top of the description, bearddown.com. We're posting columns, articles, and blogs each and every day to keep you guys posted before the 2021-2022 season gets underway. A lot of people working hard behind the scenes for us. Check out our website. It's where you can see basically everything we do. If you would like to find the podcast on social media to enter our giveaways, see sneak peeks of guests we're going to have on the show, or let us know what you want to see here on the podcast, do us a favor and follow us on social media. You can find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Beared Down. And finally, you can find the links to our personal social media pages down in the description, myself as well as Jaylen here on the right. You can find our Instagram and Twitter pages. It's a great way to keep up with us, interact with us, and see our thoughts on all things Bears, the National Football League, and the entirety of Chicago sports. Jaylen McClinton, 2 days in a row here. Man, we're getting close. I think about 8 days here until the season starts, 11 days until the Bears play. We've been working hard all summer, but everything's been moving slow, and it's picking up now, man. We're going to be here before we know it. Any last words before we close this one off?
It's been a long off season. I think it was only long because we drafted Justin Fields, and I'm just ready to see him. Obviously, we've seen him play, but I want to see him like in some regular season football. It's probably going to be even longer until we see him play. Hopefully, it's not next season, but who knows at this point. But I'm just ready to see the Bears play again. Obviously, the last season didn't end on a very good note as we lost in the playoffs to the Saints. But it's a new season. We have 2 new quarterbacks, and just ready to watch some Bears football. I'm just ready to watch football in general. I just love football. So
much. Oh yeah. I've already got my subscription for Sunday tickets, so I'll be going with the whole red zone thing.
Sundays. State stuff, living in it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Sundays are always the best days, especially in the fall. Not only because of the Bears, but I'm just sitting around watching football every day. And with how much we've been like tweeting all summer, I'm sure we're just going to be Twitter fingers all day during all of these
Get
games.
back to
So
the live streams. Hopefully, those did very
yeah,
well.
oh yeah, we might have to bring back the live streams. There's going to be a lot to discuss in the next week. Not only there at Hallis Hall, but us as well. We've got some big plans coming up for this season. We're going to keep you guys posted and covering the Bears the entire season. We're really looking forward to it. Guys, it's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe, and Bears fans, as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.